for some days now, we've been seeing videos online saying alleging that 5G is the cause of coronavirus. All social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and the conversation has been going on. So with me today is the CEO of Digital Fashion, a digital guru, Mr. Fola Akinmolayan. So, Mr. Fola,
Yes.
I would like you to give us a brief introduction about yourself before we get to the business, to today's business.
All right. So my name is Fola Akinmolayan. I'm a tech enthusiast, and I've been around quite, a lot of, modern day technologies in terms of, either from a professional standpoint to a hobbyist for so many years. So, a digital passion, we set out to create educative content around the use of tech. And when I saw this happening, I just felt, this was just a good time to set things straight. So basically, that's who I am. And aside from all of that tech, I'm a hobbyist around radio, the use of radio technology in RC, and I've been using uh, quite a lot of these different technologies over the years. Some of them are in mainstream, like what we use in everyday communication, but they're very similar. And yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Fola, for giving us this opportunity to talk to you. Okay, so let's go to today's business. And what is the link between 5G and COVID-19?
All right. So, well, and that's why we had that video. There is no link whatsoever. And when you look at 5G, most people, should I say that also some of the people who are supposed to make some of these things very clear, aren't really doing that. So this leaves room for all sorts of, interpretations and assumptions and theories. So 5G basically is not a product. It's not something anybody owns. It's not another iPhone. It's not another consumer tech. That's come upon us. 5G or the G's basically are just certain standards and rules. So in comparison, it would be like you're living in an estate and there's a governing body in that estate, and they come and say, you know what, guys, every month we're going to be collecting this as dues, and people can park here and people cannot park here. So same way with this new generation of rules and standards, we are looking at a different way in which we can communicate. Now, if you look at 4G, 4G has been around since 2008, and it took quite a long time. And this is the very first time you have this very long period between those generations of types of communication. It's quite a long time because of the need to truly prove to some of the decision makers and some of the businesses that this technology is actually viable. So it's not something that just came from nowhere. This thing has been there for quite a while to help us deliver, or to help businesses deliver that last mile service in terms of data services, and particularly because, again, there are quite a lot of people, there's a lot of awareness now. So a lot of people, businesses are coming on board, a lot of things are going online. We're talking about the cloud and so on and so forth. So there's a need to prepare for that surge of services. And yeah, that's what 5G is all about. It's not a product. Uh, it's not something you go to the market to buy. The set of rules as to how we now intend to communicate. Now, the major difference is that 5G then sets out to say, you know what, if we're going to be having these bandwidth issues, in the earlier Gs, a lot of them were sort of in a particular band spectrum. So
Okay.
quite a lot of things are there in that spectrum, the lower and mid spectrum. And you have radio, you have TV, you have current Wi-Fi systems, you have all sorts of things, all clustered, including the existing communication systems that we have. And between that mid to the high frequency band, which has been approved, for use, and when things are approved for use, I'm sure you know that, quite a lot of tests have gone on over the years to be sure that,
Sure, true.
this is actually um, going to be, it's not going to be, there won't be health issues, So on this particular band, okay, no one is playing. So we can bring on board more services and we can connect more people, and we can deliver some of those services we never knew we could deliver. Things like Internet of Things, where systems can talk to one another and make a decision, and so on and so forth. So that's exactly what it is. We've created more space to bring more people on board. That's what 5G is. So I guess the problem a lot of people have, that every new technology, there's always that fear, like, oh, what is this? There's distrust. People, yeah, I understand. You don't trust anybody, you don't trust the government. I understand. I don't trust my government too.
What I'm trying to say now is that, so why are people now linking 5G to COVID-19, which is a virus, a pandemic that is going on right now? Why are people linking that 5G to COVID-19?
All right. So now there have been all sorts of conspiracy theories, like, okay, they connected the rise, what they claim, the rise of 5G uh, to this pandemic. And if you look at this particular new technology, let me put it that way, that is going to be purportedly used by 5G, is this wave tech, and it's a high frequency. And the way to go about that high frequency for distribution is to have quite a lot of clusters of antennas, because they do not have, with a higher frequency band, you have to really be very close to get into that signal. It's like when you go and take an X-ray. X-rays are even way, 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 way higher frequencies, way higher frequencies, and that's why they do a lot of that. But you have to be really close to the X-ray machine.
Yeah.
You cannot do an X-ray of someone so far away. So that's why you have those clusters in such a way that the antenna design, uh, you know, would form what they call beam forming in such a way that whether it doesn't have so much power to travel far, it can be repeated over time within those multiple antennas to ensure that you have a signal. Okay. And I always say here, okay, if we are really scared about radiation, it's not about 5G. The mobile phones we carry and we put in our ears, have been with us for quite a while, and we feel comfortable using these ones. I mean, these ones are transmitting and doing all of it, and they're so close to us. So this antenna design is novel, it's new, but because of the high speed in congested areas, is able to send, communication packets very fast, very fast. So one of the problems telcos have when they're trying to, you know, do that last mile delivery is that in congested areas, it's always because everybody's, just coming into that bandwidth space, and it gets plugged up, and you're like, oh, I do not have good service. At their end, they are up 99.9% of the time. But to get to you, it's a problem. So what people are now saying is COVID, because they can't explain it. They can't explain COVID as a pandemic, as a virus. So let's find something to connect this to. And it's very irresponsible of a lot of the creators of those kind of videos out there, to try and connect a virus, to a radio wave. Okay.
Radio
And they're
wave,
saying,
right?
yeah, and they're saying, hey, it's been expelled from our bodies, and when it comes out of our bodies, yeah, that's where we have all these issues. It's not by contagion. Now, what you get to do with that is people are going to stop thinking about torture and all of them. They're like, okay, well, it's a 5G issue. I'm just going to cover my house, and I heard someone saying they're going to put protective shields in front of their windows, and I'll be fine. Then we'll have a greater problem because the infection rates will continue because of stupidity. Let me use that word. My video was done so
Because I
stupid.
think that was going to be my next question. That, okay, people are saying radio waves can damage the DNA,
Mm.
that and these DNA cells will now form viruses. Like, that's one of the defense people are giving. And some are saying that it can actually penetrate walls and it will come inside you, and then it becomes virus and everything. And I think it was a video that was making rounds to that Chinese are destroying 5G masts in their country, which I checked, and we found out that that video was published in 2019, August 2019,
Mhm.
in Hong Kong. That it was even in Hong Kong. Those ones were just destroying a surveillance
It was a
mast.
surveillance, so that's not even a 5G antenna, because I saw
It's
it
not
and I
even
said, look,
5G,
that's
but a
not
lot of
even.
people are now giving that theory defend it. And you know, when some authorities to start contributing into that type of thing, see the likes of Dino Melaye, this guy Femi Fanikayode, and also Pastor Chris joined the conversation yesterday. I need to analyze. I know these guys have their followers too. So the whole thing is just like, oh, what is going on? Is it true? And some people that are even trying their best not to believe that, oh, 5G can actually cause coronavirus. But when they see these people also talking about it, they are dead saying,
So,
and it might be true.
so you see, this is it, yeah. This pandemic has shown that it is important to have good leaders. It's important because right now the world is void of leadership. We have this pandemic in the past when we have global issues. You have countries like the U.S. Leading the discourse and trying to get everybody out of it. But right now, everybody's just doing whatever they want. Now, it also shows that the moment you start thinking that science doesn't matter, okay, that's the moment you start looking stupid. Okay, we're talking about issues bordering about contagion. Some countries didn't respond early, and you can tell what the impact is right now. I mean, it's everywhere. It's glaring out in our eyes. Then you have issues with climate change. Some leaders don't believe in it. Some people say, oh, it's just too much bogus science. There was never a time science was bogus. If science was ever bogus, man will not be where it is today. Okay, so at the same time, you're now having people who are not in that level, should I say that, who do not have that sort of, scientific mentality, and they tend to want to believe some of these things. In the first instance, how can a biological virus? It's tiny, it's so tiny, and they say, oh, they're going to give us vaccines. And that's another big problem because we're now getting to a point where we're going to have vaccines, and people are going to say no. I am not going to use it simply because, oh, they are going to tag me and they're going to do
To
this
put
and they're
a
going to
clip in
say
me and everything.
exactly. So how would you respond? Yeah, I would suggest that in this new world, in this postmodern world, you don't have to listen. You choose what you want to believe by ensuring that you filter out what is wrong and what is right. And that's what we're trying to do with some of these videos. We're going to release more videos. Okay, we're going to release more videos. There's a video I'm trying to do now on this whole radiation thing. People are looking at people laying cables everywhere and they say that's 5G. That is not 5G. That is a cable being laid. Okay, that's not 5G. Those cables we've always laid cables, from time immemorial since we introduced electricity. So it's not a big deal. And if there's radiation, those cables are in the ground. Those radiation can't even come to us. So there's quite a lot that the ordinary person must be able to understand. You don't have to listen to a PhD person. You don't have to listen to a pastor that talks to 10,000 and 10 million people. And so, but you need to be able to find the truth for yourself. And that's what science does. Is that religion that can allow you, to discover truth, and also it learns from its own truth or its own mistakes. So I think that's how to respond, because it will be very difficult to navigate these troubling times. We need our mental faculties in check. So we don't want all these rumors coming in, and we're trying to think, and we're trying to do this. So it's really important that we filter out the shaft from what we do.
So the point now is that I just want you to define the point now that can 5G actually create viruses like coronavirus?
Yes, so it cannot. And for those who believe it can, they are the stupid ones. Okay. 5G can never, and there is no way, I don't think so, because within that frequency spectrum, okay, those radiations are not as harmful as we think. Now, let me bring it to a perspective. The use of Wi-Fi. I use Wi-Fi in the video. I said if you have walls, you find that those signals will not penetrate walls because there's a particular frequency, Wi-Fi signals used in that spectrum. Then again, you look at even Bluetooth, for instance. If you have a Bluetooth that said where I have it, and my receiver is somewhere maybe in my pocket or maybe at the back of my pocket or something, sometimes you get break and it's so close to you, but because your body is actually blocking it. We're about, I can't remember how many percentage of water that we are. We're about so percentage of water, and we're so dense, we absorb, and we do not, I mean, we absorb. Part of these frequencies we also reflect. So, in terms of the health issues, yes, there's no form of radiation that does not have its own, sort of, but they're just minimal risks. They're minimal risk. We should even be more concerned, like I shared in the video, about radiations coming from the sun. There's so much,
Yeah.
when the sun has a flare, and all of that, and you have all those, cosmic radiation all coming in. No one is going to ask the sun and say, hey, what's going on? Do we believe that the sun will do this and that? We wake up every morning and we pray for sunlight, So ultimately, 5G will not and cannot create a virus.
Okay, so thank you for this. And the last question. So, what do you think? How can government create a counter strategy to address this narrative and those promoting the 5G tech too? Like, how can we correct the narrative? Because a lot of people already have that thing in their head that 5G, I don't want it, we don't want it, we don't want to see it. They said this is that. Even the ones that even educated, the PhD holders, talk of everybody, like everybody just wants it, I don't want it around me.
Yeah. So this is it. Like I said earlier, you don't have to be a PhD holder to have common sense. But the way it is with social media now, where everybody is everybody is media, everybody is a presenter, everybody can just say anything. You drop it out there, and whatever that you're saying becomes the absolute truth. So the way to counter it really is to create more content that is actually facts, fact based, and fact checked, and it's the responsibility of some of the people in power to ensure that the right information is being sent out. So the only way to do it like that is what I have done, to say, hey, why don't I just create something to sort of educate people. And I must also say here that I didn't really set out to do this video. I got a call very early in the morning. I was sleeping, and a friend of mine who felt he could always come to me when it came to when it comes to technical advice, just said, look, Fola, I saw this in a group and someone is translating it to a local dialect, to further share to other people. And I felt concerned that, okay, they're going to share this information to people who are not as enlightened and who may take this as absolute truth. So it was, sort of a responsibility upon me to say, hey, let me correct this narrative. Let me do the right thing. And I brought in all my facts. And all the things I've said in the video can be checked. Every other thing beyond that, the research is done. And I have a feeling like researchers want some money inside this whole 5G thing.
So thank you very much. I don't know if you have any other things to say about this our conversation, because I think that's all for me. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Fuller. It was nice talking to you today.